Wafa, you were on the road. What happened once you got to Han Yunis? How many kids are you with?
We have about 10 little kids, but we have about 70 people on here.
70.
Yes, I came in here. Then I said, I haven't slept for a week. So they gave me a mattress on one of the rooms, and I slept. I actually went into a deep sleep, and 5:15 almost, a huge earthquakey sound with things coming through the window, and then screams of these young girls coming out of their mattresses like popcorn, freaking out. What the hell is this? Did I go to hell or something? I jumped out and started grabbing those girls who are 15 and 13, freaking out, shaking. And I'm like, we're okay. They were describing that there were little girls dead everywhere, and there was next to the house like a store for weddings. So they start grabbing from those wedding dresses and party dresses and covering their bodies to cover the girls who are dead because their bodies are like showing. And they went and they found body parts, the legs of kids and arms and body parts all over the place.
But Wafa, just remind me here, you're in the south, at the south of the line, right? This was the place you were told to evacuate, and you're getting hit.
And this is a safer place, supposedly, for us. All we're asking is to have a peace, to raise our kids. You already took our land. You already took our homes. You already took our grandparents and parents. Before, I used to say Gaza is an open prison. Now I say Gaza is an open grave. It's a grave. You think people are alive? They are zombies. They are not alive, not just because they walk and talking. They all traumatized. I'm traumatized. And I know how to heal myself trying to, but I can't heal my heart anymore after this war. My heart is broken to the bone.
Abdullah Hassanin is a resident of Rafah in the Gaza Strip. Wafa El-Saka is a Palestinian American who's in Gaza caring for elderly relatives. On Saturday, Wafa got word that foreign citizens were to go to the border crossing between Gaza and Egypt. She said she went and waited for hours with hundreds of others, but that the crossing remained shut. Yesterday, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken arrived in Egypt to discuss efforts to get Americans out through the crossing. Meanwhile, the Times reports that Israel's plan to invade Gaza with tens of thousands of troops could begin as early as today.
The Daily is supported by Michigan Technological University, whose College of Computing is training tomorrow's AI experts, cybersecurity specialists, and big data visionaries at the first and only computing-focused college in Michigan. Online at mtu.edu/computing. And by Million Bazillion from Marketplace, a podcast about money for kids and their families. We help dollars make more sense. Listen to the new season, available wherever you get your podcasts.
The Daily is powered by the journalism of the New York Times and is distributed by APM, American Public Media. You can go deeper into the stories you hear on The Daily by going to nytimes.com/The Daily. That's it for The Daily. I'm Sabrina Tavernisi. See you tomorrow.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our 7 o'clock City Council meeting for October 16th. We're going to begin tonight with a moment of silence in memory of Peter Vollison's grandmother, Carmela Millie Figueri, who died this past week, and also Gloria Randolph King, a longtime educator and youth leader in the community who also died this past week. So as we stand, if you'll join me in a moment of silence, and then I'll ask Reverend Marquise Porterfield, youth pastor at the Hill Church, to lead us in our invocation. If you want to come on up. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, I just want to thank you for this time that you've given us to gather and accomplish things around the city, Lord. I just want to thank you for these great council members and administrators, Lord. I pray that you impart wisdom into them. I pray that this meeting is edifying and glorifying, Lord, and that we all can share our love and our thoughts about our great city, Lord. We love you. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Reverend Porterfield, for the invocation. Welcome, everyone. Tonight, we need to begin with certification of closed meeting, and I'll call on Councilman Priddy to offer that for us.
I move with respect to any closed meeting just concluded that each member of City Council in attendance certify to the best of his or her knowledge that 1, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and 2, only such public business matters as were identified in any motion by which any closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered by the members of council in attendance.
Second.
And before we do that, we should probably call the roll. So I forgot to do that. We need to do that before we vote. So, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll for the roll call? And then we'll come back and vote on the measure.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Ms. Sanchez-Jones? Here. Mr. Priddy?
Here.
Ms. White-Boyd? Here. Mr. Vollison?
Here.
Ms. Moon Reynolds?
Here.
And Vice Mayor Cobb?
Here, and there's a quorum present, and now we can vote on certifying the closed meeting. If you would please call the roll.
Say renew the motion. Not saying it again.
Ms. Sanchez-Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Priddy?
Aye.
Ms. White-Boyd?
Aye.
Mr. Vollison?
Aye.
Ms. Moon Reynolds?
Aye.
And Vice Mayor Cobb?
Aye, thank you very much. All right, tonight, under presentations and acknowledgements, I'm going to invite Doug Jackson. Doug, if you will come up with whomever you're bringing up, our artists. This is our Art by Bus wrap-up. We had a special event a couple weeks ago that was really special. It included a rap on the bus by a local artist, and it also honored a return of the Rider by Bus program. So, Doug, take it away.
That's right. We're really happy to bring the program back, and I'm just going to turn it over to Andrea Garland of the Ride Solutions.
Welcome, Andrea.
Thank you. Dog is tired. Good evening. Thank you, Vice Mayor Cobb and members of City Council for having me today. Yes, Vice Mayor Cobb kindly invited us to talk about the Art by Bus campaign. He joined us on our celebration last month. This campaign is a collaboration between the Roanoke City Arts Commission and the Greater Roanoke Transit Authority, Valley Metro. We have worked with them over the course of, for 6 campaigns to bring attention to the transit and to the bus through the lens of art. Every year has been a little bit different, but consistently we had chosen one artist to be our Rider by Bus of the year, and one artist to be the portrait of the cover of the book that gets created by the Writer by Bus. In 2023, a Writer by Bus is Eva Lynch-Comer, who we will hear from her today. She is a creative writing MFA student and a teacher fellow at Hollins University. Eva rode the bus for several weeks and wrote her poems and stories inspired on her experience. They are really wonderful, and she's going to read one of them for us today. I also brought copies of her publications under that I left with you to take with you today, and I have copies outside on the table for the audience to take as well. The 2023 Art by Bus piece was selected by Eva, so she said she went through the gallery of the self-portrait, We Are Art self-portrait collection by the Arts Commission, and she selected what spoke to her that will be reflected in her chapbook. Her selection was Let Your Mind Be Creative by J.C. Stallings. And J.C. Stallings is an art teacher at Lucy Addison Middle School. And he has his face and his whole portrait rolling around the city of Roanoke for as long as it stays. It's really wonderful to see. Again, Art by Bus, I should be rolling this, sorry. Here's celebrating the event, and Art by Bus is, again, this was our celebration on 3rd Street, forgot about the presentation. So what I wanted to say was that we celebrated on 3rd Street Station on September 27th. Vice Mayor Cobb came and gave a presentation for us. We really wanted this to be an inspiration, or this event the idea is to have an inspiration and really encourage new riders of the transit. And I'll tell you, Valley Metro provided us the venue to do this celebration and also allow us to ride the bus for about half an hour, and that provided opportunity to connect with the artists and with the community that came to the event. But already during just that brief moment, we had so many stories of people just saying, I'd really like the bus. I really wish I can ride it more often. It really comes by my house. So that's the reason why we do this, and hopefully we can expand it even more. But we also celebrated by featuring Sunder as the Latinas Network Book Club of the Month. Celebrating Eva's Latin heritage during Hispanic Heritage Month. So we had a reading at Book No Further, and it really was an amazing time. And we really, Right Solutions and the Regional Commission and the Arts Commission really couldn't do this without your support, and we supported the Arts Commission, and and we really thank you so much for your support, and continue we can't wait for the next event and hope to see you all there and maybe ride the bus together.
Thank you, Andrea.
So JC is going to talk to us about his experience, and put this back.
Thank you so much. Wow, what an honor to come to this place tonight. Thank you all for being here and doing what y'all do. It's quite an honor. So it's really great to be recognized, but I always like to say that the recognition goes to the action that's happening in this painting. And I stand here as a testament and representative of the bright youth that I serve every day. And coming from my room, coming from my school today, just hanging artwork in the hallways before coming over to support other local artists, I have the best job on the planet, But with all humbleness, I've been sitting here thinking about, transportation, and the metaphor that came to me just now was that when we model the potential that we have as we develop ourselves to our youth, we do something that's huge. So I've been enjoying this elevated status in my school. Every day, random students, even students I don't have, will pop up and say, "Mr. Stars, I saw you this morning. Mr. Stars, I seen your big head." I get texts from peers and coworkers from other schools that say, "I saw you finally." Staff are still waiting for their chance to spot me. So it's been a great boost to our community, but it also shows my students that what happens with determination and consistency and hard work, that you can reach your dreams and your goals. So that transportation really, literally is powerful for our physical structure and needs of our community, but the far-reaching implications is very inspiring. So yeah, it's with much gratitude for Eva for keeping this painting going, and big thanks to the Art Commission for allowing me this opportunity to do the painting. So it's kind of gotten recycled and elevated. So it's time to do new work. I'm inspired to keep this going. So I wanted to say how grateful I am for the city and supporting the arts, but specifically, and I've been talking this up a lot, is how important it is within our school system that admin see the great potential in the elective courses that we offer. Not just art, but the STEAM and the ROTEC, the language arts, dancing, the music, how important these programs are for the mental health of our students. All right, and that's why I did this artwork. That's what's in this artwork, is a testament to the process that we as educators do every day. And the first thing that we are doing is removing those barriers to learning. That can't happen anywhere else in a school building with as much efficiency as we can in the elective courses, where we can give our students that space to explore new things, to have a moment in their day where they're not going to be as stressed out to perform, So I just wanted to reiterate how important that is, and how grateful that I am as an elective course teacher that I'm seen by my admin at Lucy Addison Middle School. My principal, Jonathan Rosser, he said, "Look at this building, this is your canvas, go for it." And without that support, I wouldn't have had the confidence to say, bring this canvas into my room and say, "Students, this is how artists get by. We go for these grants and we look for ways to get involved. And so I'm going to do this piece with y'all to see if I can't get anything to happen." So they were there with me. They got to choose and add to it, quite literally in some aspects. So you let your mind be creative as to where they put their input. But thank you again. I can't say enough how grateful I am to serve. I wear this with much pride. And I want y'all to see that from all the work y'all do. I'm coming here to say thank you and to give y'all that fresh, that liveliness, that energy, because it's really how we look at things. The jungle is wild and dangerous, but it's also beautiful and healing. Yes. All right? So that's how we're going to look at and lift up our youth, to give them that ability to say, hey, these are my strengths, and with creative deviance in mind, I can still be and express myself how I want to, but we're just going to be positive and generative instead of the other. So
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
My name is
Hi.
Eva. I'm the writer by Bus. Thank you, JC, for such a beautiful speech and for the beautiful artwork that has graced this book. Thank you to the City of Roanoke Arts Commission and Ride Solutions and Valley Metro and all of you city council members for making this possible. So this summer, I basically rode the bus for a few weeks, and I had like a routine. I would walk to the bus stop, and then I'd ride the bus, and I'd take notes on my phone, and then I'd go to Barnes & Noble and write for hours. And it was just such a wonderful experience to move away from the hustle and bustle of everyday life and just be present and to connect with my community, and to engage in creativity without worrying about anything else. I feel like the bus provides a beautiful liminal space where we can just relax and just be, and get where we need to go without worry. So it was amazing. I also took the trolley, which I never would have taken without this project. I visited the Museum of Transportation. I did open mics at soul sessions. So I just took this as like an opportunity to just be in the community wholeheartedly. So I'm so grateful for this. I also wanted to write about the magic of Roanoke. So I wrote about the Mill Mountain Star, and I wrote about fairies on the bus, and goddesses on the bus. So this is just a wonderful space for creativity and connection, and also mindfulness. So I'm so grateful for this project, and this is a dream come true that I was able to write a piece, and to write so many pieces and share them with everyone, as well as the love for public transportation. Everyone should take the bus. So I'm going to read one poem today, but if you want to hear more, this Friday, October 20th at noon, there'll be a lunch with the poet at the main branch library, and there'll be pizza, and I'll be reading for like 30 minutes, so a lot longer. And then Saturday, October 21st, is the Rhythm and Rhyme Festival, where they'll name the Youth Poet Laureate, and I'll also be reading a few pieces there. And that's at Melrose Plaza from 11 to 2. So thank you again. Wow, this is surreal and beautiful and amazing. So I'm so grateful, and I'm going to read one poem for you all. And if you have the book, it's If You Want to Break the Curse, and it's on page 6. Okay. If you want to break the curse, look for the man with a thin harp string smile and a dark red bowler hat. When he boards the bus, he will pay with only quarters. Sit in the front, look at his hands. He has a tattoo of a feather on his ring finger. He will look up, smirk, and say hi. Do not answer him. Instead, give him a suitcase of gold. If he cannot pick it up with one hand, it will be enough to pay off your debt. The man will offer you 6 pomegranate seeds, and you may think it is a sign of good faith. Do not eat them, or you will be trapped on the bus forever. Instead, prick his ring finger with your sewing needle. Say sorry. You must shed a tear as you say it. If he is satisfied, you may leave the bus. Do not look back. Bury the needle in the sand. In the morning, a desert flower will sing like a train's whistle. Blow on the leaves until steam curls out of the stem. Eat the petals, and then, only then, will you be free. Thank you so much.
Eva and JC, thank you. Andrea, Doug, Megan, thank you all. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Douglas.
Great job as always.
And just a reminder to the public, the second Monday of every month at 6 o'clock, there are gallery talks. Third Monday. The Monday that we meet. At 6 o'clock on the lower level, and 3 to 4 artists will share the story of their paintings in the exhibit downstairs, which features local people, portraits of local people by local artists, right? All right, thank you. Right, tonight we have a number of public hearings. The first public hearing is the leasing of approximately 5,709 square feet of space, including the mezzanine area, in the first floor of the Church Avenue parking garage located at 101 Church Avenue Southwest, to the United States Postal Service for the operation of a downtown post office branch, and we have one measure and ordinance.
Move the ordinance.
Second.
Madam Clerk, will you please read the title paragraph?
An ordinance authorizing the city manager to execute a lease agreement extension between the city and the United States Postal Service for the use of approximately 5,709 square feet of city-owned property, including the mezzanine area in the first floor of the Church Avenue parking garage located at 101 Church Avenue Southwest, Roanoke, Virginia, for the operation of a downtown post office branch for a 5-year term upon certain terms and conditions, authorizing the city manager to implement, administer, and enforce such extension, and dispensing with the second reading of this ordinance by title.
Thank you, and I'll turn to our city manager for any comments.
Nothing to add, but I know Brian Mann is here. Should there be any specific questions? This is obviously, though, a new lease for a current tenant that we've had for a number of years in the garage. Thank you.
Thank you. I will now open the public hearing, and I'll ask if there are any citizens wishing to be heard. Do we have any signed up to speak?
No, sir.
Okay. Then I will close the public hearing and ask if there are any comments or questions by council. All right. Then I'll ask our clerk to please call the roll.
Ms. Sanchez Jones? Aye. Mr. Pretty?
Aye.
Ms. White Boyd?
Aye.
Mr. Volleson?
Aye.
Ms. Moon Reynolds?
Aye.
And Vice Mayor Cobb.
Aye, and the ordinance passes. All right, item number 2 is the proposal of the City of Roanoke to amend the enterprise zone boundary. And we have one measure tonight, which is a resolution.
Move the resolution. Second.
Madam Clerk, will you please read the title paragraph?
A resolution authorizing the proper city officials to make boundary amendments to the city's Enterprise Zone 1A that will, 1, delete certain areas currently with Enterprise Zone 1A, and 2, will add certain areas not currently within Enterprise Zone 1A to Enterprise Zone 1A. Authorizing the city manager to apply to the Virginia Department of Housing and Community Development for approval of such boundary amendments, and authorizing the city manager to take such further actions as may be necessary to obtain and implement such boundary amendments.
Thank you very much. I'll ask the city manager if you have any comments.
Yeah, and I'll ask Mark Nelson if he wants to come up and just explain what we're doing. Not that that description didn't tell you, but.
Yeah, you're as excited about enterprise zones as they do about the riding the bus. So basically, the enterprise zone, it's a state and local incentive program for commercial activities, and it's focused on revitalizing previously distressed and underrepresented areas. And so per state code, you can only have a certain percentage of acres in the enterprise zone. And right now, we are capped at 7%. So we are currently looking at different ways to be able to move the zone around. And quite often, we've been lucky in the past recently that we haven't really had too many needs to delete parts of the enterprise zone. So mostly we've been able to add without having to come back to you and say that we have to cut here, we have to cut there. But what we're starting to notice is that a lot of people are starting to talk about bigger projects that might come online, projects that could potentially benefit from the enterprise zone. So we were trying to find a way to start looking at the possibility of banking acreage in case we get that 30 to 50 acre development that comes along. And so we started looking at that process this year. One of the things we wanted to respond to is during the council retreat, there was a discussion about doing more in Northwest and up in the Valley View area. So some of the inclusion, some of the parcels we're going to include are the former Sears building, the Dick's building, Gabe's. We're trying to aim more on some of the properties at Valley View that may need to be remodeled or are vacant, and this could potentially attract a developer to come in and remodel them. That does require that we have to make some cuts. We initially had a longer list. I think you have the revised list. We had initially included several parking lots downtown. The focus of what we sought to cut were basically not anything owned by nonprofits, governmental buildings, and anyone that was not eligible for enterprise zone benefits. And initially we had about 6 acres worth of privately owned parking lots that were included on the list. The owner, it turns out that most of his parking lots were owned by one entity. They did call us and lobby us to stay in the zone, And they said basically there's still a possibility that at any time, they get offers to sell those lots, and so potentially they could still be used. A developer would come and say, we want to buy this parking lot and build a building on it. So what we decided we would do is, in the past, we've had a calendar that basically requires us to be able to get our application into the state by November 1st. So generally we come in the second meeting of October and say, okay, these are the amendments we want to make. And since we usually don't have to do deletions, it's not really an issue. But this year, we have the properties we want to add, the properties we want to delete. It winds up that we wind up with a net of we have about 5 acres to spare. But next year, we're probably going to come back and look to cut other parcels. But we're also going to start that process a month in advance. So we'll be here in September rather than coming in October. That way, it gives us more leeway to be able to discuss it with anybody who has any sort of objections. So what you're seeing now is an amended list that actually adds, it deletes 23 acres and then adds 24 acres for a net of about 1,915 acres.
Thank you, Mark. This time I'll open the public hearing. Do we have any citizens signed up to speak?
No, we do not.
Okay. Then I will close the public hearing and entertain any questions or comments by council. All right. Then I'll ask our clerk to please call the roll.
Ms. Sanchez-Jones.
Aye.
Mr. Pretty.
Aye.
Ms. White-Boyd.
Aye.
Mr. Volleson.
Aye.
Ms. Moon Reynolds.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Cobb.
Aye. And the resolution passes. Thank you. All right, item number 3, public hearing number 3 is the proposal of the City of Roanoke to request authority to acquire various easements from Roanoke Southern LLC located at 671 Brandon Avenue Southwest and conveyance of city-owned property bearing Roanoke official tax map number 1420326. And we have one measure, which is an ordinance.
Move the ordinance.
Second.
Madam Clerk, will you please read the title paragraph?
An ordinance authorizing the city manager or his designee to execute the necessary documents providing for the acquisition of various easements needed by the city from Roanoke Southern LLC, and for the sale and conveyance of a parcel of city-owned property being property bearing, please forgive me, bearing Roanoke official tax map number 1420326 to Roanoke Southern upon certain terms and conditions, and dispensing with the second reading of this ordinance by title.
Thank you. Recognize the city manager or the city attorney for any comments on this.
On this one, what we've done is we've worked with Roanoke Southern, who own the Beltline, in order to clean up a lot of past issues. So initially, this looks like, oh, we're getting an easement to build our new Main Street Bridge, but we're also gaining access for several points on the Greenway, access to our new Parks and Rec building, as well as ensuring that even a yet-to-be-built skate park will have direct access from the roadway. So I think we've been working on this, and of course, one of the difficult things to envision that we've got the last little bit to cross is the air rights for the bridge, because you have to make that bridge go through that envelope of the air rights. And that way, and the reason that's going to be important is if indeed there is an active rail, we want to make sure that that bridge is high enough that a train could go underneath it. And we think we've done that. So we've got some final little tweaks on the actual documents themselves, but we're ready to go on the ordinance. We've reached agreement.
Great. Thank you. Well, I'll open the public hearing. Ask if there are any citizens wishing to speak on this.
No citizens.
All right. I will close the public hearing. Any questions or comments by council? Mr. Pretty?
Do we have the term sheet?
Yes, fully executed. I don't know if it was included in the package, but yes, there is a term sheet.
I didn't see it in here, and I'm even fine just getting it after. Then I guess I just had another question, probably either for the city attorney or city manager. I understand the maintaining the vegetation on the city-owned property for visibility tracts. What is it meant by when it says just maintain the easements in a manner sufficient to preserve their ability to use the tracks? What will we be doing as a city to maintain them? What will be our, because that's an ongoing cost to us.
It's basically keep clear. In other words, we're not going to put anything in the way that would interfere with the operation of any train.
Okay, so by maintain, don't do anything to intentionally obstruct, but we're not going to be responsible for the maintenance of these tracks?
No,
Okay, that
not
was my
the
biggest
tracks.
concern.
Tracks are theirs, just the easement portion. I'll give you one example that'll come up in dealing with this. If they get a train right there where we've bought the new building for the Parks and Rec building, there's going to be an area that we will be driving across that. So we will have to put in, if there's rail there, a way that when we cross, we don't interfere. In other words, the traffic can still travel.
And will it be our responsibility for cost for like the safety measures around those tracks then for those crossings, to prevent anyone from going across while they're operating maybe rail?
Not the safety measures themselves, although we don't anticipate that there will be cross arms or any of that will be mandated. They will put up the cross bucks, if you will, warning, if it ever comes to fruition. Now, understand the track is landlocked.
Yeah, and I know this has been a long dream of theirs, so
Yes, it
hopefully
has.
they're able to bring it all together. I'm just trying to
And
see
just
what
so
any
you-
potential cost might be, but this seems like a good deal.
I think it is for them. I think that we have probably paid a little more, but we've also drafted this with the idea, as you said, it's been a long-term dream. I've drafted it with the idea that that dream, what we're doing, doesn't interfere with that dream. And in fact, we're actually helping to arguably get there. The biggest problem that they will have to encounter, and this is a problem for them, is the bridge over Murray's Run.
Or
That
just-
that will need serious work, even if they're going to do pedal cars.
Well, I was thinking the FRA generally, but yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That answers all my questions.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Mr. Ball?
All right. Then, Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Ms. Sanchez Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Pretty?
Aye.
Ms. White Boyd?
Aye.
Mr. Volleson?
Aye.
Ms. Moon Reynolds?
Aye.
And Vice Mayor Cobb?
Aye. And the ordinance is adopted. All right, we'll move on to item 16, which is the hearing of citizens upon public matters. City Council sets this time aside as a priority for citizens to be heard. If deemed appropriate, matters will be referred to the city manager for response, recommendation, or report to the council. Madam Clerk, do we have citizens signed up to speak tonight?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
We have two speakers.
Okay.
That is Laura Hartman, followed by Kenny Marn.
Welcome, Ms. Hartman. Dr. Hartman.
Thank you. I bring you greetings from BRAG, Bus Riders of Roanoke Advocacy Group. This is probably not the first time today that you heard from us because I know that our member Sylvia King came to speak with you at 2 p.m. I just wanted to reinforce what she said and add a few more notes. It was so delightful to hear the Rider by Bus and the art on the bus and to hear all the love for transit. Buses do, in fact, foster creativity and connection in our community, so we celebrate that as well. We have a few notes on the 3rd Street station. We're so grateful for this nice new station that opened its doors, I think, back in November. I did want to mention, however, that there have been a few requests that we've been asking for in the Transit Passenger Advisory Committee meetings since June. And one of these is the concern about smoking that Sylvia King brought up. It is an outdoor area, so it makes sense that perhaps smoking seems like it wouldn't be a problem, but as I think she made you aware, it is a problem as it wafts into the buses and passengers have to walk past smoking. We have been requesting that there be a designated smoking area. I believe that's what they do in Lynchburg when they have a similar station set up. So we're strongly hoping that that can happen. The other thing that we've been asking for several months is a bike rack. I don't know if you all noticed, one of the images from the Rider by Bus event featured members of the Arts Council, and one member, John Hitchens, rode his bike to the station. I happened to be there when he arrived at the station, and he did not know where to park his bike. And I said, well, they've been telling us that this one bike rack in front of the Hat Building is the place to park it. But that bike rack is in fact very wobbly, and we're not sure what the future is of the Hat Building. It makes a lot more sense to have an actual bike rack at the station. Mr. Hitchens, in fact, just parked his bike along the railing, which makes sense from a certain perspective, but I think presented perhaps a little bit of an accessibility issue. You don't want bikers doing that. So providing them with the proper hospitality is, I think, important. I'm aware that Ride Solutions has a program in which they've been giving away bike racks, so hopefully this would not be a costly measure. And I know that many bike advocates with whom I've been in contact are really supportive of that idea. There are a few other things about the station that we just aspire to, one of which is recycling. The station offers a vending machine in which you can get drinks in recyclable containers, but there's no place to actually put them for recycling. And finally, I know this is a little bit of a dream, but we, as part of our climate action plan for the city, there's the desire to have more solar panels, especially on city-owned buildings. The bus station is perfect for solar panels. So as you all, I assume you're creating a list of buildings you're going to put solar panels on, please add the bus station to that list. So we're very excited for lots of positive things happening for transit. We know that the new Metroflex is coming up, and we've heard that buses will be free on Election Day, so we support all of these wonderful ways to celebrate transit in our midst. I did want to speak to one other related issue. In the Roanoke Rambler on the 3rd of October, there was a report about a tentative plan, I think, to offer subsidized parking to certain downtown workers. And that makes a lot of sense, but I hope you all realize that is an indictment of our transit system. Why do they have to drive downtown at all? Because the transit system isn't good enough to serve their needs, right? So this is one of many interlocking pieces in our economy, and one that I think we need to continue to hold to higher and higher standards. A great city deserves great transit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And our second speaker is
Kenny Marn.
Kenny Marn. Welcome. Welcome.
Hello. Hi, my name's Kenny Marn. I'm the interim president of the Grand Court Neighborhood Association. I know that I've sent emails to several of you, well, all of you, over the past few months a couple times. I've only met Joe in person, but it's nice to see you all in person. I led an effort with several of my neighbors this spring and summer with to have a removal vote for the GCNA officers that had been in place at the time for several years. I'm not going to get into the details of all of this. I know you're aware of everything that went on, but the vote to remove passed with almost 100 residents voting, with more than 2/3 of the vote. A few days after the vote, the previous officers decided to announce that the vote was in fact invalid, and they refused to hand over any of the assets for the neighborhood association to the new leadership. We've been dealing with this ever since. During the spring and summer, the now former officers have made baseless and false claims in official neighborhood communications, such as the proposed coffee shop at Fishburne Park has some nebulous, undefined ties to racism. The owners of the proposed coffee shop held an event at the caretaker's cottage late at night with loud music and alcohol. The owners of the proposed coffee shop secretly plan to turn the cottage into a bar instead of a coffee shop. And I personally potentially committed a misdemeanor or felony when I contacted the city of Roanoke claiming to be the president of the Grand Court Neighborhood Association. All of these things are false, and all of them were communicated using official neighborhood association communications channels. These are great examples of the reasons why we did all this in the first place. I just wanted to sum up all of that before I got into the rest. So on September 21st, we had our first GCNA meeting with the new leadership, and the membership at the meeting of all Grandin Court neighbors voted 23-0, not including the officers that were there, to ask me to come here and talk to you about how frustrated they have been with City Council's unwillingness to simply come out and take an official stance on this matter, which would help us close this issue out and move on. The city has communicated to us that they expect the issue to be resolved at the regularly scheduled elections in November, but our membership is concerned that the former leadership plans to simply hold their own separate election and continue pretending to be the legitimate GCNA. So I'm here at the request of the neighbors who were at that meeting to ask you to come out with a more forceful message on this topic. One, the removal vote was valid, and two, the new GCNA leadership is a legitimate one. Only one of the two groups in this situation is acting in good faith, and we'd like for City Council to recognize that. I would also like to finish up by saying that the former leadership is welcome to come to our election in November and put themselves forth for election as officers if they truly feel that the neighborhood wants them to be the officers. I don't think that they would say the same thing to me. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martin.
Thank you.
If I may?
Yes.
Just to kind of pick up on that, and I think it's important that we again say this. I know we have said it privately, the letter was referenced, that was in here, and I think publicly it's important to say that, especially in light of some of the information you received earlier today. So a letter did go out from the city to both the folks that have gone through the election, as was mentioned, and the folks that were previously elected and are disputing that original election. And I just think it's important to point out that you all in conversation have concluded that the individuals that are elected to officer positions on November 16th at an election held at the Grandin Court Recreation Center, 2621 Barham Road, consistent with the bylaws that were not amended, is who will be the officers for Grandin Court. So I just want to make sure that that's clear. I think you received information earlier today that indeed there will be a alternative location for an election, but you have indicated through this letter that the election of officers that results in this location subject to those bylaws will be the ones recognized by the city.
That's correct. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any other citizens wishing to speak?
No, sir. No other speakers.
All right. There being no further business to come before council, the meeting will stand in recess to reconvene on Friday, November 3rd at 8:30 a.m. at the Melrose Library, 2502 Melrose Avenue Northwest, Suite D, for a strategic planning retreat, and we are adjourned.
Children that the court takes away from their parents. The book says the court takes custody of, which that's just not true. The court